Derek McInnes was very positive and helpful to you as well, wasn't he, in your time of need?
Yeah, Dale was excellent. Derek and Tony Docherty. Obviously, Doc wasn't in a job and lives in Broughty Ferry at the time. They'd left Aberdeen, so I'd bumped into him a few times and spoke to him. And the relationship probably came from Dave Mackay, who was my assistant, and Derek obviously signed him for St Johnstone, so they had a good relationship. But soon, in probably maybe 2 weeks, and Derek will not mind me talking about this, I know that, maybe a week after the sacking he left it, and then he called me and just said, get up and get out of the house. Why are you sitting in and with your head in your hands? Get up, face people, go over the embarrassment and stuff like that. And because that was the overriding feeling. I'll sit here and be honest, that's what it was. And you lose your job, you're embarrassed, but then you take the time, you reflect. Did I leave Dundee in a better place than when I went in? Absolutely, and that, I'll back that. The group now, looking where we are or where they are just now, then people will argue that, and that's what's great about football, because you can put that argument out there. But to get out of that championship's not easy. We managed it as a group, not just me, but as a group we managed to get out of that, and that's what Derek kept saying. Look back on the achievement. Look back on the young players that have made their debuts. Max Anderson, and for one, I'll jump in on this one, talk about a senior squad I can't get my head around why he's not in the Scotland under-21 squad. Yeah. He's made almost 60 appearances. He's played almost every game in the Premiership this season, and he's been... People will throw the argument back, well, Dundee are bottom of the league, but Max Anderson's been one of the reasons that they're still within touching distance of not being rooted in a way, because he's been so consistent at 20 years old. So that, for me, that's the rant over with that one. But no, look, the time there, I believe myself, my staff, the players, we'd done a decent job to get out of that league, and we still had a fighting chance in the Premiership. We were second bottom when I lost my job, and another couple, Martin Hartley lost his job. Dave's still there at the minute, and we were second bottom, but we got to the quarter final of the League Cup. We were still in the Scottish Cup in the quarter final, for second time in 10 years. The last time was 8 years ago under Paul Hartley. So look, there's a lot there now. At the time I was devastating. I thought, I've done a rubbish job here, and I've walked out. But you look at it, you reflect on it, the debuts we've gave to kids. I've seen a 16-year-old run a derby in Finlay Robertson down at Tannadice, playing alongside some great players, and Graham Dorrans, and I've seen Max Anderson playing inside Charlie Adam. Experience for them, great. That's what they can teach them, and I've come out a better person, and hopefully if I go back into management, then I'll go in a better manager.
Does it help when you get the support of people who say this should never have happened, this was wrong, this was a bizarre decision? I mean, we'd Craig, one of the callers in the first hour of the show, saying couldn't understand it, and you'd won at Tynecastle, you'd reached the Scottish Cup quarter-finals, you'd lost one of your last half dozen games. It just didn't seem like the right time. If there was going to be a time to sack you, it wasn't then. And you look at what's happened since, and obviously we're now talking with the benefit of hindsight and looking back on 6 games of Mark McGee. I was looking at some stats here that tell me that Dundee have had 8 shots on target in those 6 games. So, but I know you're not taking any pleasure, quite the opposite, in what's happening at the moment. But you must reflect on what happened and still think why, or do you move on from there?
I think you've got to move on. Of course, I've got opinions on it. I've got thoughts on it that I'll keep to myself, because I've got a huge respect for that football club. I was 8 years there, and that's a long time at a football club. I was a player, a captain, a youth coach, the first team manager. We got the promotion, so I've got a lot of friends there, a lot of people that I know that are still there, and I'm hurting that they're bottom of the league, and that's not. I'm not coming on here looking for people. Look, I don't care. There'll be people with the opinion that I've done a poor job. There'll be other people with the opinion that the job I done was okay. Mm-hmm. The people with the opinion that the job I done was good. But that's football again. It's about opinions. We got them. The objective when we got the job was to get out of that league. We done it. Now we were faced with a hard championship both years. Dundee United were in it, and I think they'd been in it for the 3 years previous as well. A much bigger budget. Budgets don't win you leagues, and I keep going back to that. But when it's considerably bigger, then it gives you half a chance. And then Hearts come down, and they totally romped the league last season, but we got up through the playoffs when everyone had written us off against the Kilmarnock team, who had a proven international striker, and were very unlucky in my opinion to find themselves in the playoffs, because that went right to the wire as well. So, and over the piece in those 2 games, we won them pretty comfortably. I don't think anybody will argue with that. So I don't know if I take any comfort from hearing that people are saying I shouldn't have lost my job and I should still be the manager.
In a way, it makes it worse.
The comfort I take is from the likes of Derek McInnes,
fellow professionals.
Yeah, like, and going back, someone John knows very well as well, like Chris Coleman calling you up and saying, like, just get your head above the water, get yourself back out there, just go and speak to people, go and do things. Because I'll be honest, I just wanted to stay in the house, and I've realised in the 3 weeks or however long it's been, it might be 4 now, I don't know, but I've realised I've got 3 daughters as well that I've probably not so much neglected, because that's the wrong way of putting it, but when you get into that job, and people say you can never work too hard, I believe I went in there and put too much into the job, and that had an adverse effect on my life probably. I've got a 2.5-year-old who I've hardly seen. I was maybe staying 5 days a week up in Broughty Ferry, and my wife was having to look after the kids on her own, which that was tough. And then you lose a game, you come in, you don't talk to anyone. You win a game and you come in and you're thinking, right, what are we going to do next week? It's more a relief. Whereas when you're a player, you lose a game, you come in, you don't talk to anyone the same, but you win a game, you come in, you're ecstatic. So those were the wee differences. And I was young, I was inexperienced, but I'm now at 37, over 100 manager, or over 100 games as a manager. I've got to take a bit of pride in that, and take that into my next job, and be better for that, and have a better balance. That's one of the things I certainly believe that I need to do.
Tell Alexa to launch Go Radio, or listen on the Go Radio app.